Hey, what's going on, guys? Here with a quick and unexpected Temtem update. Of course, this had to drop while I was on my way to work, but I've been dying to make this video, so here it is. For those of you who don't know, the Play Temtem Twitter account just dropped a roadmap of what to expect for the upcoming year regarding the Temtem updates. The image you see now is the image that they posted, and we're going to be going over it step by step. As you can see, the roadmap is sectioned off into 3 different parts, essentially indicating approximately when each update is coming. First up is the Spring 2020 section, or basically the second quarter of the year, and it includes ranked matchmaking, spectator mode, in-game chats, chat bubbles, and club management. With a surface scan of this, we wouldn't really know much about each feature, but luckily Crema also decided to link an article with further information regarding each, so we'll get into that now. I'm going to read the article verbatim, and then I'll break off and give my opinions of each one and whatnot. Balance. While we plan to do patches frequently during early access, our plan is not to be obsessed with reaching perfect balance until the Temtem roster is complete. Due to having only a limited set of Tems and techniques, it is impossible to balance everything perfectly, so we will most likely balance extra overpowered stuff that can break the current meta. Okay, so this makes sense, as balancing the game to be 100% perfect would be for naught the second they throw in more items, moves, abilities, etc. to the mix, so it does make a lot of sense that balancing is not a huge priority, but the extremely broken stuff will be. Matchmaking. The first iteration of matchmaking will include a player rating system based on ELO, aka TMR, Tamer Matchmaking Rating. Players will start with some sort of placement matches, which will define their initial TMR, and then after that they'll be matched with other people based on their TMR. For this iteration of the matchmaking, we plan to give you Pansun rewards for each victory as a reward for the time spent battling based on the opponent's TMR, although probably this feature will be disabled when the feature launches until the system is fully tested and stabilized. Temtem auto-scaling. This is probably one of the hottest topics in the community. We know that it's very important for competitive players to jump right into the competitive scene as quickly as possible and reduce time and friction needed to tweak and test new stuff. So our idea to solve that is to introduce auto-scaling into ranked queue. Auto-scaling will essentially perfect your Tems, upping their SVs to 50 for a battle and their level to the current level cap, currently 48. With auto-scaling, players still need to capture and organize their team, set their preferred TV spreads using fruits or training, obtain the necessary gears, completing the main or side quests in the game, and breeding for the desired egg techniques. But players won't need to grind for perfect SVs or spend a fortune on breeding to reach that point. This auto-scaling will apply only to ranked matchmaking queues, so there will be other game modes where having a perfect Temtem and breeding for them will be necessary, i.e. in-game tournaments, player-organized tournaments and battles, dojo club wars, endgame PvE content, etc. For this first update, this is honestly my most anticipated feature. Even though I'm not really in the competitive loop as of right now, it'll be nice that these Tems will auto-scale for ranked matches, giving you an opportunity to mess around with team composition and really have a chance to test out your team before committing to breeding. It's honestly like having Pokemon Showdown in the game. You will have to make sure you TV train the certain Tems and you actually have them. It is nice that perfect SVs will have their placement in other modes, not devaluing perfect Tems in any way. Spectator mode. Having a spectator mode has been one of the most requested features so far, and while we already had it in our initial roadmap scheduled for later, we've decided to push it up to the front due to the number of players requesting it. This first iteration of spectator mode will be a basic one, and we will iterate on the future one, adding more options. Basically, players will be able to spectate each other while they're playing a competitive match. While spectating, only common info will be displayed: HP, stamina percentages, team composition after pick and ban stages, status conditions, etc. So players won't be able to use this feature to gain leverage on their opponents. We hope including this feature will also help tournament organizers solve some of the issues they're currently facing. I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say here other than that it's a nice feature to have. In-game chat. The chat implementation we had during the alpha/stress test phases was a temporary one, and it was lacking a lot of features, so we decided to disable it entirely for the early access release. Our plan is to remake the chat from scratch, increasing its performance and capabilities. The chat will feature several predefined chat groups, global, local, trade, club, etc. And it will go on to support private messaging between users. We'll also be adding chat bubbles, which will appear above talking every character. We know players find chat bubbles intrusive sometimes, so we'll give an option to turn it on or off. This is also a huge one that I'm looking forward to, and it's going to be great. Right now, without the chat, the game doesn't really feel like an MMO, but this should really help out with that. It's definitely a great start. Club management. Clubs are our take on clans for Temtem. Clubs have basically 2 main features related to them. The first one is that you can create a club, assign a banner, name it, invite your friends to join. This will be the first part of club features that we will tackle. The second part is Dojo Wars, which we'll talk more about in the next part of the roadmap. This was actually one of the stretch goals and seems pretty interested. I am curious to see what kind of interactions the club will entice and what benefits we'll see from said clubs. The summer 2020 goals include a new island called Kisiwa. This island is described as being a hilly cousin of Tuckma and having an impassable Kilima range that divides the island in two halves. It is home of a variety of neutral and earth-type Temtem. They also have 25 more Temtem planned, which will likely be primarily earth and neutral types, as there are a lack of these types in general in the game right now, and as seeing as the island is home to both of those types, it makes perfect sense. Player housing is also a planned feature, and I have a little piece of the previous article I just read regarding that. Every Temtem player will be able to acquire a house since they won't be limited in quantity. We're designing the Atoll Row, the physical location where houses will be built, to be infinite so you don't have to worry about buying permits or land. Technology in the archipelago is amazing. There is one thing you'll need to worry about though, decorating your house. You'll be able to decorate your house using furniture bought and earned in game. Every furniture store in the archipelago will open their doors and they'll showcase different furniture on each island. You'll also be able to invite other players over so you can gather around the dining table or join the other player's house and check how they're decorating them. While houses will be predominantly decorative, we do have some ideas such as incubators, jukebox, and a fruit tree, etc. Next up on the list is climbing gear, which is really exciting. There are tons of places on Deniz right now that are unfortunately currently inaccessible, so getting the climbing gear will be great. I am curious to see what exactly is going to be happening on these previously inaccessible locations. There are also more emotes coming, but that's not really a big deal. Finally, we have fall 2020, and this one's going to be a doozy. So first of all, we have the island of Simpaku, which is home to the origins of digital type Temtem. Once a very renowned culture, the Simpaki have embraced the new time and have turned the island into a bustling metropolis, driven by the inventions of their lab. They were once renowned for their electric type Temtem, but now said recognition comes from their invention of the digital type Temtem, making Simpaki the heart of the archipelago's strides towards a more technological future. Next is the addition of a new mythical Temtem, which I'm assuming mythical is just Temtem's lingo for legendary, which again is exciting. I'm hoping it's not broken competitively, or if it is, at least it gets banned from ranked play. From the image, it's very obvious that this legendary is going to be the flying creature that we had previously seen in one of Temtem's Kickstarter trailers. In-game tournaments are the next feature, which were also a Kickstarter stretch goal. Depending on how they go about these could be really enticing, perhaps giving a really good in-game reward to those who are finalists or something to that extent. Quest Diary, unfortunately, isn't planned until fall, so we're going to have to deal with the current HUD until then. Achievements are also planned for fall, and they've confirmed that some will have in-game rewards, and for consoles, they'll tie into their trophy or achievement systems respectively. Anyways, guys, that's all the information I have for today. The article I referenced said to come back tomorrow for more information, so I'm eagerly awaiting that. Make sure to subscribe for more Temtem content, and thanks so much for watching. Until next time, peace.